Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Bunch of Nuts podcast. I'm Dan. I'm here solo, big cast. He's enjoying, his time in the Caribbean. So not a super long show, but obviously, a lot of things to discuss, lots of stuff going on in the Buckeye world. First things first, we are officially 100 days away from the kickoff of the college football season. 100 days, week zero. It will be 99 probably by the time you're listening to this. So, we're getting there. Um, the you know, I guess the least surprising news we've gotten this week, the game is officially set for noon on Fox, November 30th. Believe it or not, shocker, it's going to be a noon kickoff. I don't think anyone saw that coming. I am just so shocked. But yeah, noon kickoff for that. But today, kind of want to do a little fun episode. Kind of want to go through the Heisman odds. I think, right now is a good time to kind of take a look at that. Kind of obviously more of a broader scope, not just, normal Ohio State content, but we'll also touch on some other things going on around the community. But let's get into it. So, if you go on like any betting app, they have the Heisman Trophy odds. Currently, and I don't agree with this, but they have Carson Beck, Georgia quarterback, as the front runner, plus 750. He has the bet. Like he, if you were a betting person, you would get the least amount of money if this guy won. Um, I don't like that value at all. I don't think he's that good either. I mean, people are saying, he's going to be a stud. I don't know. When I watched Carson Beck last year, I was not impressed at all. Kind of reminded me of like a slightly better Jake Fromm, if I had to be honest. Just not impressed by him. Next best odds, plus 900, Quinn Ewers. I do like this. I do like this one. Just because Quinn has the pedigree. Texas is going to be in contention. I mean, I think at very least Quinn will be in New York, so I think that is a pretty good value, plus 900. Um, and then after that, it's Dylan Gabriel, plus 1,000. And trust me, Oregon's supposed to be like really nasty. They might they're going to be in contention to win the Big Ten. Um, and especially like how Dan Lanning runs that offense. We saw it last year, Bo Nix. I think, that's good. That's I don't hate the odds plus 1,000. I just with Dylan Gabriel, he's just I don't know. He's always just jumping around and stuff. So that's my kind of hesitation with him. Um, but we've seen what Bo Nix could do. So I don't love that one. And then this is where it gets kind of wonky. It has Will Howard plus 1,300. I love Will Howard. I hope he's but he's not the starter yet for Ohio State. And I know Ryan Day said on 97.1, actually really good interview, but that they're looking to name a starter as soon as possible, like before, training camp and all that. And I'm pretty sure Will's going to be the starter. It just kind of feels like that. He's plus 1,300, but he's kind of a mystery. It could be a great pick. And he could easily win the Heisman in that offense, or he could be a dud. I think that one is the riskiest pick. And then they have the Tennessee kid Nico, at plus 1,500, right? Below that. I like Nico. I just haven't seen enough of him. And he's good. He's in the SEC. I think he could put up good numbers. I think he's probably a year away, in my opinion, from really being a great college football player. I think he needs one more year. So I wouldn't touch him. I love Jalen Milroe though for the same values, plus 1,500. I think that's the best value looking at all this, Jalen Milroe. And then those are the big ones. Like that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the top 6. Then it kind of gets kind of wonky. Jackson Dart, Garrett Nussmeier, Riley Leonard. I don't think any of those guys are winning Heisman. Don't waste your time. Cameron Ward at plus 2,200. I like the concept of Cam Ward at Miami. Could be a September Heisman. I think that one could be a September Heisman. You get in now, plus 2,200, and maybe those odds shift. Maybe he has a great couple first weeks, the use back, everyone's saying, and then you maybe cash out. And then you go down Avery Johnson, Jackson Arnold, Connor Wegman, Fafita, Jalen Daniels, DJU, Cade Klubnik, Brady Cook, Drew Aller. What's crazy on this is Drew Aller at plus 4,000 has the same odds as winning the Heisman as Shedeur Sanders, which I don't think Shedeur is going to win the Heisman, but I do love the plus 4,000. That's very juicy. But below that, this is my favorite pick. If I was a betting man, I am going to place a bet on this. And we've seen this coach produce Heisman winners too, multiple times. Miller Moss plus 4,000, and we saw what he did in that bowl game. Threw for like 7 touchdowns. Insane. I mean, I don't know how you couldn't, why you wouldn't sprinkle a little bit on Shedeur and Miller Moss. And this is where it kind of gets stupid. It has Julian Saying plus 5,000, which I find that interesting. Does that mean he's going to be the backup? Because I don't see any other really Ohio State guys on here, quarterbacks. They do have Emeka Ibuka on here plus 10,000, Quinshon Judkins plus 10,000, Travis Hunter plus 1,650. Well, no, plus 6,500, plus 6,500. Travis Hunter. He's going to go 2 ways, but it's Colorado. I don't know if people are going to take him seriously enough. So I wouldn't really. I don't know. I would prefer. I would say Shedeur over Travis, but you could make the argument Travis is the better player and he goes 2 ways. So I wouldn't put it on both. I would just pick one and kind of roll with it. I do like. And I'm hearing a lot of crazy things. We kind of saw him in the bowl game against Ohio State. Luther Burden plus 10,000. People are kind of saying he's the number 1 player, one of the number 1 players in college. But that's really all I got for the Heisman list. My pick would be Miller Moss at plus 4,000. I do like Quinshon. I took Quinshon last year at Ole Miss. Quinshon, I think, would be the Buckeye you would want. But I gotta go to this list from On3, I believe it was. Give me 1 second. I'm pulling it up. And it was the top college football 100. And the list goes, Tennessee edge number 1 James Pierce. He's projected number 1 pick. Then Luther Burden, like I just said, was number 2. Kelvin Biggs, tackle at Texas, number 3. He's a monster. Carson Beck at 4. I don't agree with that. Will Campbell, looks like LSU tackle, 5. Mason Graham, defensive tackle, Michigan, 6. Deion Walker, defensive line, Kentucky, 7. Will Johnson, cornerback, Michigan, 8. In Michigan and Georgia, only 2 teams with multiple people on this. Malachi Starks, Georgia safety number 9, and then Terriota McMillan, wide receiver, Arizona. He's a stud at number 10. I did find it kind of ridiculous though that there were no Buckeyes on this list at all. I thought that was just insane, in the top 10. I mean, I don't understand how you keep Caleb Downs outside the top 10 after you watch what he did last year. That just blows my mind. I think Tyleik Williams and Jack Sawyer and any of those guys on the D line should be top 10 potentially. You could argue for them. I'm not saying all of them got to be top 10, but you can make an argument. for a couple of them. And then Denzel Burke, like I think he is probably a top 10 player at the end of the year. So just, the Buckeyes really not getting a lot of love on these lists and the betting sites, I feel like. But I do like, my favorite thing is Ohio State does have the second, lowest odds to win the national championship. They currently have it as Georgia plus 300, second best odds, Ohio State plus 450. It's a good spot to be in. It's going to be interesting, though, to see how this changes. I wouldn't put your money on Ohio State to win the Natty until the odds fall back a little bit. Just because I've seen this, and I've said this multiple times, on different shows. Every year, Ohio State is usually always like the one or two team, first or second favorite. And then once you get close to the season, once you get like in August in camps, for some reason we always like drop a spot or two. If you're gonna put money on Ohio State, I would just wait a little bit. And you also have more certainty with like the quarterback situation and all that. But the good news is too, Ohio State does have the best odds to win the Big Ten. They are plus 165, Oregon's plus 210, Penn State plus 550, and Michigan is also plus 550. What I find interesting is if you look at the betting odds, it's not Michigan that they're liking to make the playoffs out of the Big Ten. Like they're obviously liking Ohio State, Oregon. I think those two teams should make the playoff. But they like Penn State as like a 10, 11, 12 seed, it looks like. Which I get. Like say what you want about James Franklin. Obviously a lot of people have been putting him on the hot seat because he hasn't gotten them over the hump. But I feel like under this new format, he's like the perfect coach you want. Like him and Lane Kiffin, like those teams are always going to be in that, I feel like, top 10, top 12 range. So look out. Yeah, just look out. But we are 100 days away. And it's awesome. Psyched. I also wanted to bring this up. So Blue by 90 on Twitter, and we're kind of shifting gears here, tweeted this out. And I really want to talk about this. And you can if you have any if you feel strongly about this, please tweet about this. But Blue by 90 tweeted, if you look at two resumes, 2023 Michigan versus 2014 OSU, there isn't even a debate. Ohio State lost at home by 14 to a 7-6 team. Excuse me. Michigan didn't lose and didn't trail once by double digits. Went 15-0. Those are the facts. Read. And it's just, yes, okay. You can argue the resume. I'm not here to argue the resume. I'm here to argue the talent, because the talent, it's not even close. And you also have to factor this into different years. People run in different types of teams. It's just different situations. Like Ohio State, yeah, we lost a game to Virginia Tech. They were still figuring out the whole quarterback situation. When you look at the run that Ohio State went on, as opposed to Michigan, I feel like, Ohio State's run was magical. Michigan's run was kind of, I don't know. I just think, who on Michigan stopping Zeke? Joey Bosa, I think, would have a field day. Like Joey Bosa, Darren Lee would have a field day, and they would stuff that run. I think they would, really stuff the run. And Ohio State would be able to run the ball. And I think that would be the difference. And I just think it's ridiculous that, people actually think that this year's Michigan team is better. They're not. I don't want to hear it. I just watch the games. Like just watch both teams. One is clearly more of a football team. Michigan is just, they just love to. They were one dimensional in my opinion. They really just like to pound the rock, play defense. That Ohio State team, 2014 team, he beat you many different ways. And they have a lot of good players. Who's guarding Mike? Who's guarding Mike Thomas? Who's guarding Devin Smith? Evan Spencer. We got Evan Spencer. Um, just so much talent. The offensive line, Taylor Decker. They're gonna get a push. Um, I just don't think this Michigan team. Um, they had a lot of veterans. They had a lot of older guys who were more physical, but Ohio State had young, like raw studs who were first round picks. So just want to just kind of address that. Another thing I want to address is um, Ohio State had a decommitment today. Um, 4-star cornerback Blake Woodby has decommitted from Ohio State. Is shrunk the class to with 12 commitments and only 2 cornerback commits. Not too worried though, because it's not really surprising because Ohio State, they do have pretty good, they have Devin Sanchez and Naeem Offord coming in, the number 1 and number 2 quarterbacks. So that's great. Not doesn't really concern me. It is unfortunate, but I get it. So look, I mean, here's the thing. Ohio State will need to address defensive backs in the portal at some point. We were talking about last week that they needed a safety. Well, you also 2025 corner commit. I think defensive back is going to be a priority just to reload for the future. This season itself, I'm not concerned with the cornerback and safety depth. Really, I mean, something catastrophic would have to happen. We have Hartford, like Malik Hartford, Caleb Downs, Lathan Ransom, all play safety, all studs. Corner, got Denzel Burke, Jermaine Matthews, Iggy. It's dumb. It's dumb, and I'm pretty sure I'm missing a couple guys too. I know I am. I have to be. I'm absolutely missing a corner or two. Oh, Jordan Hancock, absolutely the most underrated player on the team, like Ryan Day said this week. So yeah, it's no big deal to me, honestly. But yeah, I mean, short episode this week. Nothing, not a crazy long episode. Cast, like I said, is in the Caribbean. He did a belly flop competition. Happy for him. Can't wait to have him back. Also, last thing I want to address, obviously, for those listening from last week, we interviewed Baby Gronk. And I gotta say, we got a lot of hate on Twitter from it, obviously. People were like, how could you do this? How could you do this? Well, here's the truth. If we do this show for free, we do this show for fun. We just love to do it. We love to bring guests on. We've had Sir Yacht, we've had Big Game Boomer, we've had former players, former NFL players. We've had, tons of guests on this show. We do it for fun. We do it to get different perspectives. I don't think, people are saying the dad is taking advantage of the kid and stuff. I didn't get that vibe from when we interviewed him. When we talked to the kid, when we talked to the dad, I think the dad he's obviously trying very hard. We can all agree that he's a try hard. I don't think he's a bad dude. He was very nice, very respectful. The kid was very, Baby Gronk, very, very sweet kid. It's clear that in the videos and stuff, they're really editing, he's acting, and he's having fun. And I don't apologize for having Baby Gronk on the show. I thought it was awesome. It was really cool getting their perspective on it, just how they're taking advantage of social media and everything. And I just I just don't want people jumping down our throats that we did something crazy. We put the interview out, and and I know a lot of mainstream people don't take Baby Gronk seriously. And it's fine to not take him seriously, but don't just because you don't agree with them. I just disagree with trying to take away someone's platform. we should all have a platform. Everyone deserves a platform, no matter like if people dislike you, love you, hate you, as long as you're not doing anything like that, you're really like causing damage, which he's not. It's all fun and jokes. And I think they are aware too. It's all a joke at this point. But it's just crazy that people get so riled up. Like his dad said, like a kid can't dream. Um, you know, um, it's just like it's crazy because we we love the video of Dwayne Haskins as a boy, you know, just walking around in the Woody saying, I want to play school here. We think it's the cutest thing ever. RIP Dwayne Haskins. Um, but when like, baby Gronk does it, this is crazy and stuff. It's just I think we all need to chill and be a little more receptive and just find everything a little more fun in life. And I just, thank you, Mr. Gronk, for coming on. But also, they're committed to Michigan now, so um, it's I guess did you guys a favor because he came on the show, committed to Ohio State, now he's committed to Michigan. So that's all I really got. So we'll be back next week with Cass. And I appreciate, listening to this shorter episode just on Heisman odds. Like I said, if I'm a betting man, Miller Moss. That's my pick. And I've been pretty good with these. I got Bryce Young a couple years ago. Last year I was all on the Joe Milton trade last year. This year, I think Miller Moss would be my pick. But yeah, that's really all I got. So thank you so much for listening. Oh, last thing. Mike Conley is balling out right now. The Timberwolves, huge win tonight. They defended their home court. We're getting a game 7 on Sunday. It's gonna be insane, but I do hope the Timberwolves win. I want to see Mike Conley get a ring. There's no one more deserving than Mike Conley. Just the dude has just always been a consummate professional, consummate teammate. Obviously, came up short with the Buckeyes that 1 year with Greg Oden, and really hasn't gotten close to winning a championship. It would just be so sweet and amazing to see Mike Conley get a championship because he's at kind of on the back end of his career, still playing great, still averaging double digits a game in points, obviously veteran presence. And it's really the Anthony Edwards show for Minnesota. But Mike Conley, it would just be amazing to see him get a ring. So I'm pulling for Mike. I hope, Timberwolves get the win. Sorry about the Cavs. That was a bummer. Obviously, all my Cavs fans out there. But let's pull for Mike Conley. Bring it home, Mike. But thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Bunch of Nuts podcast, and go Bucks.